I would never cry to
Cars film.
Let's be honest. I am a man.
On your town.
Man, Cars is definitely one of those franchises that just gets worse with every entry. Like, you got Cars, released in 2006, story of a big cocky meanie head who gets served a dish of humbleness and ends up giving away his dreams to help a fellow racer in need. Definitely Pixar's most underrated film, in my top 8 for sure. Cars 2, the most insane, whack film ever created. It's a film about Mater becoming a spy and shooting people and almost blowing up the Queen of England with a bomb that was planted on him by terrorist cars. This film is so weird. Then we got Cars 3, the worst one. The one where McQueen has a big oopsie and then leaves halfway through a race so that DeviantArt Thanos can win in his place. I don't like this one. Anyways, the Cars franchise is a huge moneymaker, grossing a total of $1.4 billion across its 3 films, and Shorty makes a lot more from his die-cast toy line, which has been going strong since 2006, making banger new releases while also not knowing how grammar works. But throughout the now 17 years of the franchise, there is one forgotten sector of it, and that is, of course, Planes. Planes is a film created by not Pixar, aka the now defunct Disney Toon Studios, who made beloved films such as Bambi 2 and Aladdin Return to Jafar. They made the infamous direct-to-home video sequels to a bunch of classic Disney films. But unlike them, Planes was released in cinemas, because I guess someone decided to give them a budget of $50 million for a rip-off film. But you know what, they got John Lasseter, director of Toy Story 1, 2 and Cars on the team. How bad could it be? It's about racing. As long as the main character isn't super unlikable and no war crimes are committed, it will all be fine. It's really bad, I'm sorry guys, and that's hard for me to say, to be honest. It feels like I'm betraying my younger self. But there is a point where you have to realise that your takes as a kid are most of the time really bad. Like, I remember absolutely loving this film as a kid. But now, as someone who has seen some fantastic works of art in recent times, I can now confidently say that Planes is a pretty bad film, and I will now explain why. Planes is about a crop duster plane named Dusty who doesn't want to be a crop duster, he wants to be a race plane and compete in the Wings Around the Globe rally. So he goes to a local qualifiers for the event but just barely misses out until, super unexpectedly, one of the other planes tests positive for extreme crystal meth consumption, so he gets disqualified and Dusty gets into the race thing. So he asks this war veteran plane for some tips and he complies and tries to give him lessons, but Dusty is afraid of heights for some reason, despite him being a plane. And also, in an earlier dream sequence, he is flying super high up. Anyways, he goes to the thing and does bad until he do good, and then he win. Boom, congratulations. It is a really generic underdog story that doesn't even seem like it's trying to do anything different within the confines of its parent franchise, as a lot of the characters are just blatant rehashes of the characters present in Cars, otherwise known as a good movie. But I'll discuss that later. There are absolutely no twists, no turns, moments that are unexpected, or anything of interest whatsoever, and that becomes super clear when you take a look at the characters. Okay, it's time to start hating. Starting with the characters, as they are just so awful in this film, especially the goddamn main character. Dusty is like if in Cars 1, Lightning McQueen didn't go through a character arc and instead ditched Radiator Springs immediately after finishing the road and remained just as unlikable as he was at the start of the film. Yeah, he is that bad. He clearly doesn't respect anybody in the film, especially Skipper, who is a goddamn veteran. Like, he doesn't follow any of his advice throughout the entire film and then gets mad at him for only serving in one battle. Like, what the hell is he on? He quite literally has zero justification for getting mad at him here. He's really just like, wow, Skipper, you only served in one battle where your entire squad got killed and you almost died. Why would you lie to me? Like, dude, you didn't take his advice to heart whatsoever or even really follow it to begin with. He doesn't fly high until the writers need to come up with a way for him to beat Ripslayer, and doesn't take off his duster until he is given advice by Franz, who is just some random NPC who shows up for maybe 5 minutes in the whole film. So it's not even like he followed his advice in the first place, so he quite literally has no reason to get mad at him for helping. His whole character arc is learning to appreciate a veteran who has done nothing but help him throughout the entire film. Another thing I really don't like is that absolutely nothing goes wrong for him in the whole film. Like, he doesn't qualify at first, but then this other plane gets disqualified for illegal fuel intake. Then you know what, let me set the scene here so you know just how much nonsense is present. So Dusty, like the complete idiot that he is flying low in the Himalayas, but the mountains are starting to close in. Wow, I wonder who told you that might happen. So he decides to fly inside this tunnel here, but oh no, there's an oncoming train. Oh well, Dusty, you had a good run, but now it's time for you to die.
Yes! No!
Oh god damn it, never mind. He's won the race? What? How is he not disqualified for this? I'm being serious here because earlier some moron got booted for flying slightly too high, but the main character can just skip the entire course and win, and we're just gonna stand for that? Hashtag ban Dusty. Anyways, there are even more issues with this, like how Dusty gets mad at generic love interest claims for helping him out. Like seriously man, just take the W and move on. And another thing, this screws any kind of message the film could have. Like him flying low and being rewarded for it surely tells the audience that not getting over your fears is really cool and will get you exactly where you want to be in life. To be honest, I don't really know why I'm complaining because I have the exact same mindset as Jeffrey M. Howard. Overall, Dusty should have got disqualified for track limits. Next up, Ripslinger's minion attempts to take Dusty out of the race, and now we're going back to disqualification rants. So how is Zed not DQ'd here? Well, I assume it's because there are no cameras to see him almost killing Dusty, which I must now ask, why? Why are there no cameras so they can penalise planes who break pretty clear rules? Oh yeah, because it's convenient. How else would Dusty end up on the aircraft carrier so we can get mad at Skipper for no reason? And also get modifications which pretty much turn it into a completely different plane. Shipper thesis theory applies here. Which in turn no longer makes the film about an underdog crop duster winning a racing tournament. Instead makes it plane who is the protagonist versus plane who is the antagonist. But you're rooting for the antagonist because the film is giving you no reason to like the protagonist. So Dusty is an awful main character, but I just mentioned the villain, Ripslinger. So let's talk about every other major character. Don't worry, I don't have nearly as much to say about them as I do about Dusty. Ripslinger is a perfectly fine villain. I mean, he's basically just a clone of Chick Hicks, except nowhere near as good, hateable, hilarious, and by hilarious, I don't mean intentionally like Chick Hicks. I mean that I ironically find Ripslinger's lines hilarious. Such as,
Looks
you've
like
run
you've
out of
run out of
airspace,
airspace, crop hopper.
Like, do you really think I'm not laughing when I see this asshole eat? Another brilliant one is that's why they call them Sky Slicer. It's like Ripslinger really wanted to say something cool after his get back on Skipper, but realised he's in a Disney Toon Studios film released in 2013, so he has default to Sonic Adventure 2 dialogue. Ripslinger is definitely on the Jackson Storm tier of Cars villains, just an obstacle that plays dirty, but nothing really more than that. Chick Hicks is also kind of that, but he has so many great lines, he's also clearly the most hateable of the characters, whilst in playing, so the only reason why you would hate Ripslinger is because he hurt Skipper, when there was like 10 minutes left in the film. Prior to that, he's just some asshole who wants to win like Francesco in Cars 2. Really, they could have done a lot worse with Ripslinger, but they also could have done a whole lot better. Skipper is easily the best character in this film, probably because he is a blatant copy of the best character in Cars 1, with the difference being that Doc actually did something wrong, that being calling the press to take McQueen away whilst everyone was having fun. Planes, on the other hand, want you to think that him slightly twisting the truth on his battle experience is the worst thing to ever happen, and that he needs to apologise to Dusty for this. Even though if he never did exaggerate his war experience, then Dusty would have never went to him for pointers, and so would have never done as well as he did up to this point. Which is what I would say if, like I said in Dusty's segment, Dusty does not care for Skipper whatsoever. Compared to Doc and McQueen in Cars 1, where they both hate each other at first, but after knowing a Doc's past, McQueen just wants Doc to give him advice. Sure, he's doing it for selfish means at first, but he changes, and eventually in the finale, Doc sees that, and they have a really good teacher-pupil relationship until his death prior to Cars 2. If you were going to rip off Cars 1, then you really should have gone all the way and copied the message as well, as it would have fixed so many problems involving the characters. Oh yeah, I was meant to talk about Skipper in this segment. His redemption, in massive quotations, is pretty cool. And I like that he goes back to the Navy base at the end, but he always just be beta Doc to me. El Chupacabra. Isn't he something special? He really is just the same annoying comic relief sidekick, similar to Mayor, but nowhere near as funny or charming as him. Mayor has so many great lines, in Cars 1 specifically, whilst El Chu here has maybe 2 good ones throughout the duration, but everything he does is completely ruined by this really weird subplot where he simps for Rochelle, who clearly isn't interested in him. By simping, I'm talking donated 10k to our Twitch stream simping. There's this one really odd scene where he tries to win her love by singing this song, and once again she is obviously not interested. Then eventually this works and is treated as another Dusty W, as he suggested this elaborate song and dance routine to him. But it's just so weird and ultimately irrelevant to the story, and I just want to move on, so I shall. Finally, Chug. Chug has Eeyore's voice actor and he's a pretty cool character. That's all I have to say, so let's talk about the epic finale. Okay, final battle time. Race of the century. Oh wait, I'm talking about cars again. Instead we got Dusty trash talking Ripslinger before the race. Now I really hope he wins. So Dusty sets off last and very far behind the rest of the planes, but I guess these inexplicable upgrades that he got not only fit perfectly for him, but also bring up loads of questions related to why in Cars 3, McQueen can't just upgrade himself to make him faster and beat Jackson Storm. But I don't want to get into that right now. I might make a video on Cars 3 eventually. Anyways, he is catching up quicker than the Smash community believes baseless allegations, and Ripslinger says they're out of camera range, which not only proves that someone should have seen said sabotage Dusty, but also shows how much of an idiot Ripslinger is, because they are clearly in camera range as we can see them. Ripslinger torments Dusty in an attempt to kill him, but then Skipper clutches up and snags Rip. So now it's time for Dusty to finally write out Ned and Zed for the story, and he does so quite swiftly. That's probably the only good thing he's done in the entire film. Now Skipper versus Ripslinger, and Skipper just spins him around, probably killing him. Good job. But oh no, Skipper is hit and off Rip goes into the distance, but Dusty shouldn't be worried because he just came back from like a year behind him, so he should have no trouble catching up. Look, he's already caught up and Rip is pissed. So he speeds up a little bit, and this causes Dusty to randomly not have enough speed to catch him. What? Even though he just caught up an insane amount already, but the film decided he should probably actually take the advice of his mentor and fly high for the first time so he can beat Rip. Stuff happens, Dusty pips Rip at the finish and wins. Wow, I'm so happy for him. Congratulations. I mentioned this in the El Chupacabra segment earlier, but this film has a distinct lack of good comedy. Of course there are some good moments, both ironically and unironically, but they don't make up for an overall bland experience humor-wise.
It's not.
Now obviously comedy is subjective,
subjective,
Murray, so these jokes may work on someone. Someone may even laugh at this scene, if they are very odd, but really who am I to judge? On to animation now, and to be honest, it looks pretty good for a $50 million animated film. Some of the shots are pretty creative and cool, some of it might look a little bit jank at times, but once again, this was made by Disney Toon Studios, and with nowhere near the budget of any Pixar film in the 2000s, and especially from around this time. Another thing to point out is that the character design for this film is really good. It's good in pretty much every Cars Universe film, but I think it's just behind Cars 2 in character design, which is no small feat, as to me, that film is easily the best character design in the series. I know that someone speaking positively of Cars 2 may be a little bit foreign to some viewers, but don't worry, I have even worse takes that may be revealed in a 1K sub special or something. Now on to this video's namesake, the acts of crime present in this 2013 animated motion picture about talking planes. Okay, so heads up for this segment, I have no knowledge of the legal system, so this entire segment will just be absolute awful. I hope you can forgive me for this. Okay, first up, Skipper threatens to shoot Dusty.
You live in Libby number 51.
Yep, that's a threat. Next up, Dusty clearly isn't following plane landing regulations, as once he lands on the runway, he just stays there like a complete idiot and doesn't know that he's recklessly endangering a flight until he turns around and leaves just before he would get hit and die and probably kill everybody on the plane, including the plane itself. So this would be endangerment. Skipper is also faking not being able to fly, aka faking a disability. This falls under fraud. Later on, Dusty continues to endanger tons of people for his goals. Here in the preposterous scene where Dusty flies through the tunnel, this train is terrified and Dusty only barely misses almost killing the train and everybody who could be on board. Yeah, another endangerment. Now a spicy one. Ripslinger told Ishani to tell Dusty to follow the railroad in the Himalayas in an attempt to get him to either turn around or just die. This could be conspiracy to kill, which is definitely not okay at all. Next up, sexual assault. Rochelle here keeps dragging L2 towards her for kisses, even though he clearly is distressed and not consenting. Lighter topic now, sabotage. Zed destroys Dusty's antenna so he won't know where he is going, and since they are flying across the Pacific, this would most likely result in his death. I was going to mention the fact that World War II exists, so the US canonically nuked Japan in the Cars series, but the Geneva Conventions were brought into effect after World War II, so no crimes were committed. Now finally, attempted murder committed by Rip Slinger, Ned and Zed in the final battle of the film. Dusty here is merely exercising self-defense, so no faults for him here. Rip Slinger also commits aggravated assault here, so the overall crime count is 9, which will be 2 life sentences and 85 years in prison maximum. That was way higher than I was expecting. And if you want to know who would have the highest sentence, I would guess Rip Slinger. In summary,
bang, see you later, you go in prison. You go in prison. And you're getting named and shamed.
now time to wrap up this review. Overall, Planes is pretty bad. The main character is incredibly unlikable and the other characters are absolutely nothing special at all and can't salvage this film. The film is boring and predictable and lacking good comedy, but it's not all bad. Some scenes like the Nebraska Charles and Skipper attempting to fly again are pretty good. The animation is pretty nice for its budget and the character design is really great. However, those aspects are not enough to save the film from being 4 out of 10 in my opinion. Obviously, if you like the film, that is perfectly okay and cool. Just write down why in the comments because I am genuinely curious. And that's all I have for you today. If you made it all the way to the end, then you have my thanks. If you enjoyed the video, why not give it a like and maybe even subscribe for more videos like this coming soon. I look forward to seeing you all in my next video. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.
The apple.
What?